Today's date is January 10th, 2021. It has now been just under 10 months since COVID 19 was initially declared as a pandemic by the World Health Organization, and it has also been just under 10 months since lockdown measures first started being implemented in the United States to combat the spread of COVID 19. Around middle of March is when you started seeing social distancing measures being put into place. So that's just under 10 months from today. Just under 10 months ago, I mean, because it's the 10th of January and all of this started happening in the middle of March. All of the lockdowns, that's when the spread of COVID 19 started getting out of control. That was all in March, so around 10 months ago. But I'm making this video to give an update on the number of vaccines that have been distributed across the planet, but also within the United States specifically. So, as I speak today on January 10th, 2021, according to Bloomberg.com, over 25 million COVID 19 shots, vaccine shots, have been administered across the planet. So, this includes 42 different countries, so around 42 countries have started giving patients shots of the COVID 19 vaccine. So, over 25 million doses in total. And out of those 25 million, a little under a third, or 8.02 million, of those doses were given to patients in the United States. So, in total, the United States has given around 8 million doses of the vaccine. And at least 272,000 people in the United States have already gotten the second shot of this vaccine, because for the Pfizer vaccine and for the Moderna vaccine, both of those vaccines require the patient to get two separate shots, and the second shot has to be taken 3 weeks after the first shot. So once somebody gets the first dose of the vaccine, if it's a Pfizer vaccine or Moderna vaccine, that person has to wait 3 weeks and then get a second shot for that vaccine. Otherwise, the vaccine won't be nearly as effective. If you only get one shot, it's not going to be as effective as if you get both shots. But in the United States, the vaccine has only started being the first day that the vaccine was administered in the United States to patients that were not part of the trials for the vaccine. That was December 14th, and in the United Kingdom, in the UK, the first date that vaccines were given out was December 8th. So it's been right around a month since the Pfizer vaccine first started being administered to patients both in the United Kingdom and United States. United Kingdom it was December 8th, United States it was December 14th. So now getting back to the United States, if the vaccine was first being given to people on December 14th, that means that the earliest that anybody could have gotten the second shot outside of trials was January 4th, because that's 21 days. January 4th, 2021, because that's 21 days after December 14th, 2020. So it has only been 6 days since people have been able to get the second shot of this vaccine. But already, after just 6 days, over 250,000 people in the country have already gotten the second dose of the vaccine, and they've gotten the full vaccine, because if you only get one dose, that's not the full vaccine, that's only half of it, but you need the second dose, at least for Pfizer and Moderna, you need the second dose for the vaccine to be completely effective. I believe there are certain vaccines that could be coming out soon that only require one dose. I heard the Johnson & Johnson vaccine that could be approved by the FDA in the United States soon. I heard that vaccine only requires one dose. I think those sorts of vaccines will help stop the spread of this virus more, because then once people take just the single dose, then you won't have to worry about those people spreading the virus to other people easily. But the problem with Pfizer and Moderna with their vaccines is that people may not want to wait that extra 3 weeks for the second dose. They might start going out after just the first dose. So that problem I think can be avoided with the Johnson & Johnson vaccine if that gets released. But regardless, it's still good that we have the vaccine, and we have a vaccine that's being delivered to people across the country. So up until now, the vaccine is mostly just it has just been given to patients above the age of 65. That's the majority of patients that are receiving this vaccine, people above the age of 65. Besides that, there's also healthcare workers across the country getting this vaccine. That makes perfect sense. Healthcare workers and people above 65 getting the vaccine first, that's completely reasonable to me, because people above the age of 65 are more likely to die from this virus if they contract it. They're the people who are at higher risk from this virus if they contract it. And then healthcare workers, it makes sense for them because they're the ones who have to deal with COVID 19 patients on a daily basis. So that makes total sense to me. But on Bloomberg.com, they also have a state by state basis where they also have the stats for each specific state in the United States, where for each state they list how many doses of the vaccine has been given. So, out of all the states in the United States, one of the states that has given the highest percentage of its people the vaccine is actually Alaska. Alaska has given 3.43% of its people the vaccine in total. Even though Alaska has a small number of people, it's given a larger percentage of their people the vaccine relative to the rest of the United States. And I guess that's because Alaska has less people actually. They don't need as many vaccines for that state specifically. But a state like California, at this moment in time, California has already given 734,000 doses of the vaccine, but only around 1.86% of the people have gotten one of the dose of the vaccine. So California still has quite a ways to go, but other states such as Texas has almost as many people as California. They've given 2.59 doses per 100 people. That's what Texas has done. And in total, 752,000 doses have been administered in total. And out of those, 64,000 people have received both doses. So just in the past 6 days, because it's only been available for 6 days, the second dose, 64,000 people in the state of Texas have already received a second dose of this vaccine. So a lot of the states that have fewer people, they're able to reach herd immunity faster from this vaccine because they don't have as many people to vaccinate. Obviously, if there's less people, you don't need to vaccinate as many of those people in order to reach herd immunity because there's just less people overall. It will take them less time to reach the threshold for herd immunity. The actual threshold for herd immunity is not really known at this point. Somewhere between 70 to 80% ish. That's like broad range. That's like the estimated range, but like even then, we don't really know because this is a virus that has only been around for around a year at this point, a little less. I guess it's been exactly a year now since it first started spreading rapidly in China, but even then, we don't know much about this virus. We don't know that much about this virus. So, United States, in total, they have 22 million doses of the vaccine have been distributed in total, meaning they've been given to hospitals, they've been given to these health centers. But out of those 22 million, only 8 million approximately have actually been given to patients. So a lot of the vaccines are there, but they just haven't been distributed. They haven't been administered yet, essentially. And out of every state in the United States, Texas is the state that has actually given the most vaccinations. It has actually administered the vaccine to the most number of people. But the thing is that despite the fact that Texas has actually given the vaccine to more people, California has in storage more vaccines, but they just haven't given as many of the vaccines out to people as Texas has. But the fact that California and Texas are top two on this list would make total sense considering they're the two states in the United States with the most number of people. And then on this list, Florida is third, New York is fourth. That would make sense. Florida and New York are third and fourth in terms of the population size. So that makes sense to me. So, looking at this map again, by the way, this is all on Bloomberg. I said this earlier, but Bloomberg has a pretty nice interactive graphic on their website that you can look at, and you can basically highlight each state, and it gives the basic stats relating to the vaccine distribution for each state. I talked about California, I talked about Texas. I think it'll be pretty interesting to look at North and South Dakota, especially because these are the two states that have the highest percentage of their people already testing positive for COVID-19. Like, for example, North Dakota, at this moment in time, since the start of this pandemic, already around 12% of their population has tested positive for COVID-19 in total. That doesn't mean 12% of the population has actually gotten the virus. It means that 12% has tested positive. In reality, it's probably a lot higher than 12% because not everybody that actually gets the virus tests positive for it because some people just don't bother to get a test because they're asymptomatic. They don't even know they have the virus. It's possible that you have the virus, you have COVID 19, but you don't even know it because the symptoms are too mild for you to even notice. But then you still have the virus in you nonetheless, so you've been infected, you just don't bother to check and you don't know it. So the percentage is likely quite a bit higher than 12% in North Dakota. In South Dakota, the official recorded percentage of the population that has actually tested positive is around 11%. So North Dakota, these are the first states to break the 10% threshold in the United States. Every other state's below 10%, but Iowa, I think, will break the 10% threshold soon. Last time I checked, they were like at 9.7, 9.8, so it's actually possible that they already broke the 10% threshold, but If they haven't, they're gonna break it very soon. But the thing about North and South Dakota, I made a video on these states like a few weeks ago, but you can see now, at this point in time, the daily case count for North and South Dakota has consistently been going down for the past few weeks. And I think the reason for that is just that the virus has mostly burned through those two states. So many people have gotten the virus that it doesn't have that many people left to infect. And a lot of the people that haven't gotten the virus yet are people that wear their mask consistently, don't go out a lot. So for those people, they don't have much of a chance to get the virus. The virus doesn't have a good chance of infecting those people. So I'm thinking that for those two states specifically, a lot of the people that don't take proper precautions have already gotten the virus. So there's not that many people left for this virus to infect, and that is why you see the daily case count in the two Dakotas decreasing in the past few weeks. That's just my what I think why I think that's the case, but if you think it's for a different reason, let me know. I'm interested to hear what other reason there could be. But North and South Dakota specifically, there are two states that, compared to the total population in those two states, a high percentage of the people in those states have gotten COVID-19, have tested positive. But in North Dakota, around 3.94 doses of the vaccine has been given per 100 people, and in total that's around 30,000 doses. But in South Dakota, it's even higher, 4.98 doses given per 100 people, and 44,000 doses given in total. I'm gonna be honest, when it says that 44,000 doses, for example, in South Dakota, it says that 44,000 doses have been given in total. In the state of South Dakota, I'm not sure if that includes the second doses that have been given to people, because in South Dakota, around 6.5 thousand people have gotten a second dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. I'm not sure if the 44,000 number that's included in this statistic includes the 6.5 thousand, because if that's the case, then in reality, the number of people that have actually gotten the vaccine is less than 44,000. It would be around 38,000 ish people that have actually gotten any doses of the vaccine, but I'm thinking that 44,000 doses does not mean 44,000 people. I'm thinking it means that 44,000 doses means it includes the second doses that people have gotten, meaning that if someone has gotten the second shot of the vaccine already, then that would count as two doses in the metric. But if anyone knows what that means, 44,000 doses, whether that counts the second dose that people have received, or it only counts the first dose, it only counts the number of people in total. If someone could let me know, that would be nice, because I'm thinking in reality it's not quite 44,000, it's 38,000, because the 6,000 extra doses are from the people receiving a second shot. I really don't know. I don't think it makes it very clear here, but I think it means that slightly less than 44,000 people have actually gotten the vaccine in South Dakota. And the same thing could be said about other states if that's the case. Like, for example, Nebraska, it says 74,000 doses have been given in total, but 9,000 people have received the second dose. So I'm thinking that in reality around 65,000 people in Nebraska have gotten the vaccine. I really don't know, but regardless, go to Bloomberg.com. They have a really nice interactive graphic that depicts the vaccine distribution through within each state, and also for the country as a whole. It also lists the statistics. Like, it lists the U.S. totals, but it also lists the totals per state. So it lists Texas's totals, California's totals, Florida's totals, so on and so forth, for all 50 states. And I think, yeah, they also do the United States territories, such as Washington. I guess Washington D.C. is the capital. They also do Puerto Rico, which is a territory, and Guam. They even do the Marianas, Northern Marianas, American Samoa, and the United States Virgin Islands. So that's a really nice. I think this is a really nice interactive model to look at if you're curious on how much of this vaccine has actually been given to people across the country. So at this moment in time, 8.02 million doses have been given in total, and at least 272,000 people have gotten a second dose. So this is a little over 2% of the country that has gotten this vaccine. We're reaching 3%, maybe in the next few days we'll reach 3% of the country that's actually gotten this vaccine. At first, vaccine distribution in the United States was pretty slow. Like, right after the vaccine was first approved by the FDA, distribution was pretty slow, but in the last week or so, the distribution of this vaccine has really sped up. They've been giving a lot more shots per day, and I hope that in the upcoming weeks and months they continue to speed up this process. And I'm hoping that sometime in the spring, maybe around May of this year, May 2021, we can reach the point where at least a third of the United States, at least a third of this country, has been vaccinated in total.